Hey guys, welcome to Hema's Home and Garden USA. So this year I had such a wonderful onion harvest. So even though I'm growing onions since 2019, I'm not really satisfied with the outcome because the seed packet of an onion usually has more than 200 seeds. If at least 90% of the seeds turn into onions, I would have been very happy, but that was not happening. But this year I tried something different and it turned out to be highly successful. And in this video, let me share what exactly I did to get this harvest. This was middle of January 2023. I bought both red onion seeds and yellow onion seeds. The red onion seeds, it says it takes 100 days to harvest, and I decided to sow the seeds in a large pot. So if you look at the soil, you can see the soil is very nice and fluffy, so the seeds will not struggle to germinate and come outside. And it's not too wet because I don't want to use too wet soil at this moment. I took all the seeds from the packet and it sprinkled it all over the soil. Remember guys, this large pot is outside in my garden, not inside my home. So this was in the middle of January. I had a large pot filled with soil. I was sowing the seeds in the outdoors, not indoors. So after sprinkling the seeds, I covered the seeds with a thin layer of soil and then I thoroughly watered it. And once I finished the red onions, I came to the yellow onions. And for the yellow onions, it said it's going to take 115 days to mature. So the yellow onions, I decided to sow it in the garden bed directly. I wanted to explore different options. I wanted to know which works better. So I sowed the red onion seeds in a pot and the yellow onion seeds in the garden bed. So after sowing the seeds, I thoroughly watered the soil as usual. As I did for the red onions, I did the same thing for the yellow onions too. And once I was done with everything, I covered the seed sown area with the clear plastic domes which I bought from the Dollar Tree for $1.25 each. So since the time was during January month and the temperatures were getting very cold, especially in the night time, I didn't want to risk wasting my effort and the money. So I bought these clear domes. I covered seed sown area with the clear domes and then I pinned them into the soil so that it doesn't fly away when the wind blows strongly. And moreover, the clear domes had two holes on the top for air circulation. That way it doesn't get overheat and it doesn't ruin the whole purpose of using them. So after 2 months, like I sowed it in the middle of January and this was in the middle of March. You can see how beautifully the onion seeds have germinated. So this is in the bed. Remember, I sowed the yellow onions in the bed and red onions in the pot. I am in zone 7B. So for me, middle of the March is the best time to transplant onion seedlings into the permanent place because the temperatures will not be too cold. It will be nice and mild and the onion seedlings can root very well and start growing very well if you do that in March. If you are in a zone lower than me, like if you are in zone 6, you can start this by the first week of April. And if you are a zone warmer than me, like if you are in 8B or 9, you can do this in the middle of February. So just increase 15-20 days earlier or later according to the growing zone you are in. I removed all the onion seedlings gently and put it in a saucer with some water so that the roots doesn't dry out. It took me quite some time to remove each and every seedling because I didn't want the seedlings to get damaged. I didn't want to damage the roots. So I took time to remove all the seedlings. I kept both the yellow and red onion seedlings separate. So the ones in the clear saucer is the yellow onions, and the ones in the blue lid is the red onions. So if you see, I got a lot. So looks like almost 90 percentage of the seeds have turned into the seedlings, and they are healthy too. So before planting the onion seedlings permanently in the garden bed, I wanted to add a good amount of compost. I have a compost bin, so I had a lot of compost at the time. I dumped around 4 full wheelbarrows full of compost. So this is the homemade compost. You can even see some unevenly decomposed materials in the compost. So after adding lot of compost and after getting the beds ready, I planted all the onion seedlings into the garden bed. After planting all the seedlings, I watered it thoroughly, and the next day this is how it looked. It took another week or 10 days to settle down, and then it started looking fresh. So after 60 days, exactly on May 25th of 2023, this is how much the onion seedlings have grown. If you look closely, you can see that the bulbs started forming. Not the yellow onions, just the red onions. Anyways, since the seed packet said it will take 2 more weeks than the red onions, I was not much worried about the yellow onions. Almost 95 percentage of the red onions started forming bulbs, except for maybe 3 or 4. So I was trying to remove some soil to make it easier for the bulbs to expand, because I have seen many YouTube videos where they do the same thing, just pull the soil around the bulbs, so it's easy for the bulbs to get bigger. So finally it was time to enjoy the fruits of our hard work. We decided to harvest our red onions on June 16th of 2023. We could have waited another 2 weeks to harvest, but we did not, because we had other plants that were ready to be transplanted into the same garden bed. We didn't have space, so we wanted to empty this garden bed and then plant other things in the same bed. We decided to harvest it 2 weeks earlier. It would have been even better if we waited until June 30th, but since we didn't have time, we didn't have enough space, we decided to harvest it by June 16th. So here we have our beautiful red onion harvest. So almost 95 percentage of the seeds from the seed packet turned into onions, and I was extremely pleased with the results. In the meantime, I let the yellow onions start growing bulbs. So it took almost another month for the yellow onions to get ready. Because if you guys remember correctly, we harvested the red onions 2 weeks earlier, and yellow onions obviously takes 2 more weeks than the red onions. So combined, it took almost 1 extra month for the yellow onions to get ready, and we harvested the yellow onions in the month of July. Regarding the fertilizer, in the initial stages when I transplanted the onion seedlings into the garden bed, I added a lot of compost, and after that I did not give any fertilizer, except during the month of May I gave some fish fertilizer water once. Except for that one time, I did not give any other extra fertilizer for the onions. The compost I mixed with soil in the beginning phase when I transplanted the onion seedlings, that was more than enough for the onions. So all the nutrients that is needed, remember onion plants needs a lot of nutrients, so it is a heavy feeder. So if you cannot afford to add a lot of compost to your soil, you better start giving some blood meal, bone meal and fish fertilizer every 3 weeks. So that way you will get good results. 1 week before harvesting, I totally stopped watering the plants, because if you keep watering the onion plants, there may be moisture. When you want to store the onions for long period of time, because of the moisture, it may rot. So once harvesting, I hung all the onion plants using a rope in a very well ventilated area, not under the direct sunlight, and let it dry out completely thoroughly for the next 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, I brought them indoors. I removed all the stems and brought all the bulbs indoors and started using them. That's all about my onion success story. Thank you all for watching.